Well, I'm pleased again to be joined by on 12th and final round by Russ Anber. Hey, Russ,
Hello, Neil.
been a while.
Well, too long, and that's your fault. So if this thing ever gains any kind of popularity, just let people know that this has been your fault because I've traveled the world at time zones that probably would have been convenient for you, but you have computer issues, this issues, that issues, and you flushed me. So just for the record, yeah?
I'm not sure whether I want to continue this conversation now. I think you've just ruined it. Yeah, okay. I think you're absolutely right. Actually, you're always available. You always make yourself available, which is really, really good. Any news, Russ? What's going on?
Nothing. I had one of my in 45 years, one of my most tumultuous round the world trips that I've ever experienced. I mean, I've been away from home for stretches at a time, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, training camps, whatever, but never the mileage that I just put together in the air that I think I'm still suffering a certain amount of jet lag from this trip that was whirlwind at its best and took me to from Canada to the UK, from UK to Australia, from Australia to China, from China to Kazakhstan, and from Kazakhstan back to Montreal. And bro, all that in 4 weeks. And I'm telling you what, there was some time zones in there, boy. There was some miles, put up in the air, which was fantastic. But all in all, what makes it great is that, we got the wins in all the places I went. So I was really happy about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know you were in Australia for a while. I remember you being there, and then of course you flew back to Kazakhstan. Is that right?
Kazakhstan, correct. I had to
And
go
in
through China.
Kazakhstan,
I had to go through China first, believe it or not. But yeah.
yeah, you've definitely done a fair few air miles, that's for sure. It turns out your last fight, or the last fight that you were involved in, was with this Janibek Alimkhanuly.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's not
The best.
that well known in
He's
terms of all of the other.
He's the worst kept secret or the best kept secret. I'm not sure which that would be in boxing. Like, it's unbelievable how somebody as dominant as him, as good as him, and with 2 titles to his name, he's a unified world champion, undefeated, and virtually nobody outside of Kazakhstan and hardcore boxing fans know about. And he's one of the best fighters, I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I mean, he is a skilled, immensely powerful, hard punching southpaw that should be on the big stage against big names. And he is, without a doubt, the most avoided fighter in boxing. Nobody.
If I could quickly just dive in, Russ, just to put it into context for people. So, this guy is a middleweight, right? So about 160 pounds.
Not about, exactly 160 pounds.
And it's WBO and the IBF titles that he holds.
Yes, sir.
So that in itself is quite an interesting division. In that you go up a division, I guess that's Canelo Alvarez. You go down a division, that's where Terence Crawford is currently sitting. So he holds that middle position, middleweight. I wonder whether you could just give me some real details as to what it is about him that makes him quite so special. Why is he so good?
Well, if this would have been during Marvin Hagler's era, you would have said he's black, he's a southpaw, and he can punch. In this case, he's not black, but he's a southpaw and he can punch. And I think that everybody just stays away from him because of the fact that he doesn't have that brand name recognition, because he doesn't command the type of dollars that the opponents want. The same guys who would refuse to fight him would instantly move up a weight class to fight Canelo because they know they're going to get paid more with Canelo, even though the outcome wouldn't be any different. They would gladly jump weight classes to fight Canelo because the payday would be better. This is the old adage of, like, they say, it doesn't bring any money to the table, Yeah, that's probably true because of his popularity or lack thereof. Is probably a reason why these guys are saying, nobody talks about none of the other 2 title holders ever talk about wanting to unify the division, ever, because they've got to go through him. And he's the only one who says he wants to unify a division. Forget about the money. I don't care about the money. I want to unify a division. Those guys aren't so quick to jump in the ring with him.
So in terms of that division then? So you've got Adamez, is it? And I think I recently saw him fighting against Hamza Shiraz. I think that was the Callum Smith fight. The same card as that. So what is it about this guy's skill set that makes him sort of stand out, do you think?
Listen, he's got an outstanding amateur pedigree. He's well schooled. He has great amateur program, an Olympian, bronze medal at the Olympics. You know, he's competed at the highest level of boxing with success. There's one thing to say you've competed at the highest level, but to compete at the highest level with success is another thing. And in amateur boxing, that's not easy. You know, it's a very difficult road to stay on top of and to be successful against the best in the world. He was in a short period of time, and I'm talking like, what was it? His 12th fight or whatever, 11th fight, he became world champion. You know, and he's defended the title since and become unified. I think he's only got, 14 fights, 15 fights now?
Yeah, I think it's 15. Yeah.
So, and he's unified champion. So it just goes to show you just how talented he is and how good his skill set is, and not to mention his punching power, because I don't know if you saw the end result of that fight. That was as debilitating as a knockout as you'll see.
Yeah, it looked pretty brutal to me. I wasn't expecting it. I watched a short of that on YouTube, and the final round was
it came out of
fantastic.
nowhere. It was 2 punches, boom, boom, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was the 2 punches. Up to then, it had been back and forth. They're both jockeying for position. They're both working. Oh, a mistake. Right hand, left hook, done. It was a wrap.
Yeah, it was great. He's got a nickname called Kazakh Style.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything? So is there a Kazakh style?
That's a good question. I think it's part of that warrior type Triple G pattern that was set by Gennady Golovkin, where they come to fight. They don't come to move. They don't come to dance around the ring. They come to fight, and they come looking for the knockout. And that's what he does. And I mean, he almost had it in the first round. He dropped the guy late in the first round. But I think that's what he means by Kazakh style, that he comes to fight. And I like to think that I say, that I always tell him that you should liken that to, the Mexicans are the same kind of style, and that you're proud to be Kazakh style, which is like the Mexican style. Although I personally think, the credit to the Mexican style to me, is far higher skill set than what people, seem to intend when they say Mexican style of boxing. Because to me, when I think about Mexican style of boxing, I think about Salvador Sanchez. I think about Julio Cesar Chavez at his best, who were brilliant boxers, slip punches, throw body shots, box behind a solid jab. That to me is Mexican style.
Going back to Janibek, how did you actually start to work with him? So how did that come about?
Listen, it's one of the few great things about this business that, I've been working with Egis Klimas, who was twice manager of the year, who handles Lomachenko, handles Usyk, and I worked with him with those two fighters, and it was almost like a natural progression that he got a new fighter, Russ, I need you on board, and of course he calls and I'm there. So it was as simple as that, and we've been friends. I get along extremely great with Janibek, and I tell you what, I can't even talk about this without saying how much I loved being in Kazakhstan, how respectful the people were, and makes me understand more now why I get along so well with Janibek, because of the kind of man that he is and the respect that he has for people, because the nation seemed to be like that everywhere I went. And again, as you know this, Neil, when I go places, I don't hang around in the lobby of the hotel and just stay in the tourist area. You know, I go out. I go out into where the people are, and I go looking for the pool halls and snooker clubs and billiard clubs in that area, and I'm right with the people. And that was the same way wherever I went. The warmness, the kindness, shaking your hand at every opportunity, welcoming you. I loved that trip. I would go back to Kazakhstan in a minute. In a minute.